All right, it's time for a new review. Been a while, a gun review, as it were. And laying before me, I have my new High Point 995. I think it's called the TS carbine. Why I got this? I had already went. Hang on one second, please. Okay, I already went into a lot of detail about why I was searching for a 9mm carbine, which basically is I like to shoot rifles. I like to shoot my AR more so than pistols by a long shot. And I don't really enjoy shooting 22 either, so I wanted something with cheap ammo, but that was still a centerfire powerful cartridge. So a 9mm carbine seemed perfect for me. And I picked this one kind of belatedly. None of the other, for being such a hot category, supposedly, the 9mm carbines, there's not really many of them. And none of the ones that were out really piqued my interest, or they were too expensive or something. Like the CZ Scorpion, very expensive, $900 to start. I thought about getting a Beretta CX4. That would have been my choice, probably if cost was no issue. But it is pretty expensive. It's in the $700 to $800 range online, and even it's hard to find, very hard to find, for sale at any price. Like, I don't know, there's just not many of them around. And yeah, $700 to $800, just a lot. I think that if you really stretch, you might be able to get it for $600, but that's really a stretch. I like the way it looks though, and probably, like I said, if cost was no object, that's the one I would have got. And then another big one out right now, the other probably major one is the, there's the Sub 2000 foldable. I thought about it for a while, but to me, Keltec is in about almost the same quality range as High Point, which is to say not very well regarded. It's $400, and I don't know, I don't love the way it looks and the whole foldable bit and all that didn't appeal to me. And then the Ruger PC carbine, which to me, it's also more expensive. It's around $500. And another big aspect I didn't like of it was that I just don't like the way it looks. It's just like a boring regular rifle, and I wanted something quote unquote tactical, cool looking. So I entered this guy, and I didn't really necessarily plan to buy it. I just went to a gun show and figured I was going to buy if I could find a Ruger PC carbine with a good deal, or one of these with a good deal. I didn't see a Ruger PC carbine at all, or even a Beretta CX4 with a good deal. I might get it, I kind of went in open-ended. I didn't see a CX4 at all. I didn't see a great deal on a PC carbine, I believe. And I saw a really good deal on this because it was sitting at one of the dealer's tables for $249. That's a really good price because even online, I couldn't get it much under $300. There's several places that had it for about $250, but then you got to add in, a lot of them would charge like $20 shipping, so now it's all of a sudden it's $275, that kind of thing. Plus your FFL fee. Well, that's the main thing, I guess, FFL fee. Even though I have a cheap FFL, he only charges $20, whereas most places nowadays seem to charge $30. You still add that to say $250. I know at Buds, which is one of the main places I buy from, it was $256, I believe, was the non-cash quote-unquote price. It's $249 cash price, but of course you're going to buy anything on the internet with a debit card, credit card, whatever. So now it's $256. Add $20 from FFL. That's free shipping and no tax, which is nice from Buds. But add $20 from FFL fee and you're at $276. Which, granted, was about the same as I paid for this after tax, but yeah, I saw it sitting on the table for $249. Can't beat that price. I asked the guy what he was charging for, a credit card surplus fee, like a lot of them do. They'll list a lower price, then they charge you more if you buy it with a credit card. And it was like 1 or 2%, something really low. So I was like, fine, I'll get it. So it's kind of a spur of the moment thing. And I knew what I was getting into with this gun, which everybody says it's a little crude, but it always goes bang when you shoot it. It's supposedly very, very reliable, and I'll talk about that in a minute. Some other aspects of it. I like the way it looks, except for these, these obvious signs of poor build quality, like the screws being visible in the handle. I really actually like the way it looks, and that's one of the main reasons I got it. I'm a sucker for looks. I don't know if I mentioned that in my other videos, but looks play a lot into why I get anything. If I think it looks cool, I'm likely to buy it. I mean, call me shallow, call me whatever. Provided, of course, I'm not going to buy a piece of crap that looks cool. But to talk about a couple other aspects of it. First off, the extended magazines are like a saga in themselves. Basically, one of the main drawbacks of this gun is it only has a 10-round magazine that comes with it. It only comes with one magazine. It's a single stack. I had it here. I got it out just to show y'all. That's this 10-round single stack magazine. It just fits flush in the butt like that. And that's the only magazine that comes with it at all. And only one. You don't even get two. So that's kind of a bummer because that's 10 rounds in a pretty large carbine like this. And most of them come with 20-round magazines or whatever, or you can easily get, like if you get the Ruger PC carbine, you can easily get the Glock 33-round mag for it. Now this one, there was an issue with the high cap magazines, which is only two companies really make them, which is one company called Red Ball, which is this magazine that's in it. And then that's a 20-round single stack. And then there's also a Pro Mag 15-rounder. But the Pro Mag, from reading online, it's banned by High Point. They say somehow it damages the feeding ramp or something. I don't know. But they said if you use the Pro Mag in their High Point, this gun, the Pro Mag extended mag, you void your warranty. Which, granted, I doubt they can tell that you used it. But regardless, just the fact that they say don't use the Pro Mag means I'm never going to use the Pro Mag. And it looks more conventional. It just sticks out. It has like a boot, but it's only 15 rounds, I guess. And then there's this Red Ball, which at first I thought was ugly as sin, and I didn't want to get it just for that reason. But over time I started to like the looks better, and now I kind of like it. It's really weird. First off, I thought it was just like literally two magazines duct taped together because it's kind of what it looked like. But it's actually built a lot better than you think, and this is all one magazine. It's not actually two magazines joined together like I initially thought. This is all one piece. And this is just like a boot to lock into the, to have something to brace against the butt when you put it in better. So it's not so this is one piece, and that makes me feel better about it for some reason. Like, it's not just two magazines duct taped together, more or less. And I actually, weirdly, I hated the looks at first, and I didn't want to buy it for that reason, but having no other choice, I bought it. But once I got it in and started looking at it, I kind of like it now. I kind of don't mind the looks, especially when you click in like this. To me, that kind of looks like I don't know what, that's not an aggressively styled magazine. Like, I kind of like that. So, I hated the way this Red Ball magazine looked at first. But now I'm cool with it. So, magazine problem is basically solved. Now I've got a 20-round magazine. And these Red Balls are, like I said, the only other ones besides the Pro Mag. So the options are pretty limited. But these are approved by High Point, unlike the Pro Mag. And so, yeah, they're the ones I got. It cost about $20. If you look at it for it online, it's about $20. But then everybody wanted like $10 shipping. Like, oh, you can get this magazine. It was like $22 at Bud's, but then I ended up paying $10 shipping, and it was like $9 shipping, and then they wanted another $1 for insurance in case the package got lost. That's optional, but I was like, what the hell? Throw me my extra $1. So it ended up being like $32 out the door from Bud's, which is a little steep, but I guess compared to other magazines, it's not too bad. And the main thing is a lot of it was shipping, which I'm sure Bud's and his was the same at Cheaper Than Dirt and other places sells this. It was about $20 with about $10 shipping. I couldn't find a way around that $10 shipping. Too bad Amazon doesn't sell magazines anymore. I'm sure I could have got it for $20 and then with free Prime shipping. I actually have Prime now. So yeah, $30, $32 to be exact. Not bad for the magazine, I guess. I would have rather paid like $20, but I can live with it. And now I have a high cap 20-round mag, which I think is pretty necessity for a carbine like this. Now, let's talk about some other things. The one build quality, I've taken it to the range twice. The first time I shot it, my memory's already fuzzy. I remember this well. I think I shot like 130 rounds the first time. It's somewhere around 100, 130, something like that. The first time, and I shot it all with the factory 10-round magazine. And then the second time I shot it, I took it mostly out to the range just to test this. So I ran like 3 of these full through it, 20 rounds each, so 60 rounds the second time. So total somewhere in like 160 to 200 rounds through it that I have. Now I go to an outdoor range, and right now there's issues with it. It's very muddy because there's a lot of rain in the area, and it kind of sits in a low, like kind of a creek almost runs through it. So just basically the shooting bays that I always use are pretty muddy in the pretty much all through winter. So it's kind of not ideal to go there and shoot. And another thing is I kept procrastinating, and like both times I went to shoot, I think I showed up late. Both times I showed up like 5:30, and you're not supposed to shoot after dark. There's usually no supervision on this range, which is awesome, but it's a range I pay for, $160 a year. But basically they give you a key to the gate so you can go and unlock it whenever you want and do whatever you want there. And sometimes there's a supervision, the owner there, sometimes he's not. But yeah, both times I went late. I didn't have a lot of light left because there's no shooting after dark is the rule there. I had like 30 to 45 minutes to shoot, and plus with the muddy ranges on the side, there's some side ranges I used. There's some other ranges that are not muddy, but they're not the ones I like because they're 100-yard plus ranges, and like what's the point of that for a little carbine? And I don't really know how to use them well anyway, and so on and so forth. But anyway, so I didn't get to shoot it that much, partly because of time constraints and stuff, partly because ammo is still expensive. Even though it's 9mm, I can get that stuff for about $20, less than $20 for a 100 pack at the Winchester or the green and white box Remington or what have you, Winchester sometimes at Academy. So it's very cheap ammo, but even so, I'm amazed at how fast I can run through rounds with this thing. Like the day I went there the other day and I ran through 3 full 20-round mags of this, went by like nothing, and that's 60 rounds. It's almost, it's the greater part of $20 worth of ammo right there. So you can still run through a lot of ammo with this sucker easy. It's nice that it's cheaper 9mm, but it's not a panacea, I guess is what I'm trying to say. Cheaper than 5.56 ammo by a good amount. But other little things. So what do I think in shooting it? It's about like I expected. It's a little rough. The trigger's a little rough, but it's fun. It recoils more than I thought. That's one little thing I wanted to touch on. I would say it even recoils like more than my AR, which I don't see how it's physically possible because you're talking about a shell with less gunpowder than a 5.56. But the felt recoil to me seems even actually more than an AR. It actually recoils more than, you'd think, oh, it's a 9mm. It's not going to recoil much at all. It's a very mild cartridge. It does recoil a little more than you'd think, But it's not a problem or anything, but it does have a little recoil. One build quality issues, I haven't really noticed any. There's only a couple things that bother me, or let's say 3. Well, one build quality issues, you can see right here, they've got this weaver mounting rail, and you can see how it's kind of like crooked, and I think I've noticed that on all of them that I've seen, all of these high points. So it's just a normal thing, but that's just you can tell that this is a cheap gun when you see this. It's a little like not fully straight. It's a little actually bent down. So you realize you're getting a $249 high point here. Another thing that sort of bugs me is this actually keeps coming loose because you just bolt this down. Well, this comes separate and you have to bolt it down yourself, and they give you a little wrench for it and everything. Like this thing turns and this bolts into it. But this keeps coming loose, and I tightened it really tight the second time. I mean, I don't want to strip it, so I don't want to go crazy and tighten it too tight. But it keeps coming loose, so it's not the end of the world, but it's a little annoying and just a build quality issue. Like see how I can just hand loosen it right now? That shouldn't be the case. So I should tighten it down real tight, and it should stay there, right? Because this part freely spins no matter what. This is the bolt, obviously, or the whatever you call it, charging handle. I don't know. But But yeah, this keeps working its way loose. And the first time I noticed it working its way loose, I thought, well, I'll just hand tighten it real good with that wrench that comes with the gun again, and everything will be good. But I hand tightened it again and really tight, and it still came loose like nothing. So I'm gonna try Loctiting. First I'll try the blue Loctite, which I have some. Then I might move to the stronger Loctite. I think it's red, the one that's heat, that you have to use heat to take off. Whatever, it's not a huge deal, even though I can never fix it, but it does kind of bug me that this just keeps working its way loose. Kind of a quality control issue. Other than that, the sight, these rails are just like plastic. You can kind of tell it's cheap. These sights are no doubt pot metal. The one thing that there's a story that I read on a message board once about the High Point he mentioned that he had one of these, and this is a little story that just stuck in my brain for some reason to this day, and probably always will. He mentioned he had a High Point, he thought it was great, but one day it was sitting on his bed and it fell off the bed onto like a hardwood floor. And he said, and the sight broke, just like broke in half. He was like, it was made out of cheap pot metal, and he was like, I immediately threw the gun away or sold the gun or returned the gun or whatever. He wanted nothing to do with High Point anymore after that. I just thought it was a hilarious story, but it does kind of bug me to think that this is probably just cheap pot metal, and probably if it ever falls, it'll break. But, who cares really? I mean, it's a .249 gun, and just tapping it, it feels like metal. So, and I'm not that worried if the sight breaks off anyway, because I'm going to use optics on it and everything. But for some reason, that story always sticks with me. The guy was just like aghast that, oh my lord, my gun fell off my bed, and the freaking sight broke off. What a cheap piece of crap. Like I said, if that happened to me, I'd kind of be like, well, just because I'd read about it already, but I'd kind of be like, well, big deal. But anyways, the sights appear pretty easy to take off, and I probably will take them off because I like optics. They're a lot more fun. This one you can take off. In the red dot, I wanted to talk about that because the red dot is the Bushnell TRS-25, and this is like, if it's not legendary, it should be a quality red dot you can get on Amazon. I got it a year or two ago on Black Friday type of sale for $40 freaking dollars, which still amazes me. I think they're up to like 56 now, but they're still awesome for the price. Last I looked, it varies. They may be around 60, but they're still amazing. The fact that I got this for $40 is just absurd. It's a very nice optic. I like it. So, one thing I like is like if you add $249 for the gun, $40 for the sight, $20 in theory without shipping for the mag. What is that? $250 for $290. You're talking about $310. I got a $310 9mm tactical carbine, setup right here with an optic. That's pretty amazing, and a decent quality optic in my opinion. Now, that's not adding in all the taxes because the gun actually came to like $275 after tax. The magazine was actually $30 after tax. And I forgot I didn't include this mount. This mount was like $8 or $10 on Amazon. So the UTG 0.83 inch mount. And the sight for $40 doesn't come with a mount. But like I said, everybody just buys this UTG mount. It'll probably be suggested when you buy this thing. It's like $8.95 or something stupidly cheap. And it's a great mount. I love it. You can bolt it down with this, and it has a thing so you can lock it down even tighter if you want to. But I always just hand tighten it really good. Yeah, so it's a pretty. Think of the value in this sucker. It's like a very, very cheap, carbine setup, $300 ish. Oh, I forgot to mention one other thing I don't like about the gun that I haven't seen any other reviews talk about. It has this butt pad that's supposed to go in, I guess, to sort of reduce felt recoil or something. I don't even know what the hell it is. But it squeezes in like this, see? But I don't like it because when I'm shooting the gun, I snug it up tight, and what happens is like that top thing will go in a little bit. Then I'll kind of let off the pressure, and it'll go back out. And it feels kind of gritty, and see how it's doing right there? It feels kind of gritty and not smooth to me. And that's constantly going off, going on while I shoot this thing. I'm constantly getting it, like going in a little bit, then it'll go out. And it kind of goes in uneven, like maybe the top will go in, the bottom will go in. and then it'll pop back out as soon as I let off just a little pressure. And it just makes the whole shooting experience feel a little gritty and not quality to me, and I just don't like it. I don't understand the point of that butt pad. Like I said, I guess it's supposed to reduce felt recoil or something, but honestly, who cares? So I'd rather this was just solid, butt and didn't have this contraption on the end of it. It makes the gun feel weird to me, but it's not a big deal. It's not the end of the world. So yeah, overall, I'm real pleased with it. Oh, I wanted to get to one bugaboo. I did have a malfunction with it, and everybody that I've talked to in real life or seen YouTube videos on, they'll always be like, I never had a malfunction with my high point. They just run and run and run, no malfunctions. I have in only 160 or however many rounds it was, somewhere around 200, a little less than 200 rounds. I have had a malfunction, I have to say. And for me, honestly, I can proudly say, out of all my guns I own, all my semi-auto guns, I pretty much never have had a malfunction in any of them. That's from my car CM9, which is a micro 9, So if any gun should be allowed a malfunction here, and there'd be a micro 9. Nope, never had one with my car CM9. Never had one with my Ruger LCP, really. I think there was sort of one once in the last round of the magazine, but I don't even know if I'd call it a malfunction. I think it just failed to fully eject the last round. Which big deal because I don't do reloads with it anyway. It failed to eject the brass of the last round fully, kind of, or something. And that was once in probably 400 rounds through that Ruger LCP now. Never had any other issue. Never had any issue whatsoever with my car CM9. Never had any malfunction with my Glock 19, which I've had for 10 years now. And probably put 1,000 rounds total through it. And I've never cleaned any of these guns too. Still kind of embarrassed to admit it, but I've never cleaned any of them because I have low round, anywhere from 500 to 1,000 rounds through all of them. So I don't think they really need cleaning anyway, or less than 500 to 1,000. Like my Micro 9, the CM9, and the Ruger LCP, I try not to fire those too much anyway because I don't think they're range guns, especially the Ruger LCP. I don't think they're meant to shoot thousands of rounds through them and beat them up. So I don't fire them a ton. Usually I'll put maybe 1 or 2 mags each range trip through them or something, maybe just to check their function or just for fun, whatever. But, after the initial couple hundred rounds, 300 rounds, whatever, I'll put through them. But the point is, I've never had a malfunction with any of those guns, and a lot of them are tiny. I've never had a malfunction with my Palmetto State Army AR, with my Ruger AR before that. Both of them probably have 1,000 rounds through them. My Glock 19 never had a malfunction. So malfunctions are very rare to me. So to actually get a legit full-on malfunction with this thing, it's kind of a weird experience to me. I just don't have malfunctions, So yeah, I got a full-on malfunction with it, and it failed to feed a round. Now the thing is, it was with the 10-round magazine. It was the first trip, and the next round was seated weird. The nose was kind of pointed down of the next round coming up. So I don't know if that was an issue where I loaded it uncarefully. Can that even be a thing? Or, the magazine kind of binded up a little or something weird? Because like I said, the next round coming up after I cleared the jam and dropped the mag was seated weird, and the nose was kind of pointed down of the next round. So I'm tempted to call it not really a jam. I mean, I know it was, and regardless of the why. But I'm tempted to be well, I think a round just bound up in the magazine somehow, and it's not really if I'd have been careful about the way I loaded the magazine maybe, or something, it wouldn't have had it. But whatever the case, it did fully fail to feed once. It just jammed on, failed to push the round into the chamber. But that's the only one I've had, and then, like I said, the second range trip, I put 3 full 20-round mags, another 60-round rounds through this thing with no issues. So, and I'm not, for 249, I'm not that worried if it ended up for basically being a plinker. I'm not worried about it jamming once in a while. Anyway, of course, you don't want jams to happen, but yeah, so that's the high point. I'm glad I bought it. I really like it. For the price, I think it's a plinker is what it is. It's just like a 22 or something. You're going to take this out and plink with it. You know, you could definitely use it as a home defense gun, but I have plenty of other guns for that. I have a full-fledged AR and all that business. But yeah, you could definitely use it for home defense. And like I said, this is a hell of a budget bullet build with the red ball mag and the TR-25 sight. Maybe I should, you know, manipulate it a little bit. And then you can see down the chamber. And yeah, trigger's a little rough, but it works, you know. Probably, I don't know, I'd guesstimate it at 8 pounds, something like that. But you know, I knew when I buy something, I know everything going into. So I know everything what to expect about this gun. I knew that it has a reputation for functioning perfectly, but being a little rough around the edges, being a high point. And you know, I knew the trigger is going to be rough, a little bit rough. You know, nothing terrible, but you know, I knew everything about it anyway. I would have known it just like I would have known everything about the PC Carbine if I bought it and so forth. But yeah, I really like the gun. I honestly kind of want to put a scope on it. I have the most fun, I think, with scopes, and I have a 1x4 scope on my AR. And I kind of think I might take this sight off. It has some screws up here that are, I'm not sure what you call those little star type screws, but I assume I have some of those because I have a screwdriver set of all these little screws like this. Cost me like $6 at good old Walmart for a full freaking set. Can't beat Walmart Chinese crap. I say Chinese crap affectionately because, you know, they're actually good quality stuff that you get for like $7 or something for a full set of, like, it has every kind of little star screwdriver you could ever want. Tip. You know, it has like exchangeable tips on the, only has one screwdriver, but you can put any of the tips in. Anyway, yep, so I'm glad I bought it. It's fun. It's fun to shoot. The ammo's cheap. I'm enjoying it. Now, I will watch the malfunction situation because, like I said, they have one malfunction in 160 rounds, especially with me basically never having any malfunctions on any of my guns. You know, I'll bear watching of it. But like I say, the last time I took it to the range, I put 60 rounds in this new mag, flawless. And like I say, there could be a mag issue with the first malfunction that I had, like because of what I mentioned about this next round it being like pointed, the nose was kind of pointed down on it. It was seated weird, so it could be this mag has an issue, or you know, it could be a lot of things. But this mag has had no malfunctions so far. Granted, out of only 60 rounds. So yeah, I'm enjoying it. I think it's worth. If you find it at a gun show for $249, you know, where are you gonna get? You can't get I just bought a cheapo iPad on a really good sale for $249. You know, can't get a phone or nothing for $249 in this day and age. But yeah, great device. What else did I want to talk about with it? Can't remember. Yeah, it's a lot of fun. I might put a 1x4 scope on it. I have a Vortex Crossfire 2. Trimmed me about 120, which is currently on my AR. I might put it on this or whatever, but yeah, I love it. I like this gun a lot, and it's a little lighter than the AR. It's 5.5 pounds, I think, whereas the AR is like close to 7. I know there was something I wanted to touch on that I can't remember now. Yeah, I'll watch the malfunction. You know how many malfunctions it has. I know 160 rounds isn't a lot, but it's a nice weapon. I like, again, how tactical it looks, and like I say, it's practically a disposable price for $249. You know, how can you go wrong, as they say? Really don't know what else to say. It's a fun gun. I know that I don't want to let this video go because I know there's something else I wanted to touch on, but that I can't. It's right on the tip of my tongue. If I can remember it before this video closes, I'll say it. I know right after I shut the video off, I'll be like, oh, that's what I meant to discuss. I don't know what else I can do. The video's coming on 30 minutes. Put in the normal 10 round flush fit mag there. like it. It's all plastic, and like I said, I think it looks really cool. Personally, excuse my yawning. So yeah, there it is. High Point 995 TS 9mm carbine. As I said, I wish there was a $500 carbine that I really wanted of a good build quality, but there just isn't right now. The closest thing to it is that Ruger PC carbine, but I just don't love the way it looks. So yeah, cool gun. Accuracy. Oh, guess I could touch on that. It wasn't what I was thinking of, because I would know if it was, but accuracy seemed really good. Now this is gonna seem weird, but I only shot it on paper at like 7 yards, because I try to sight my guns in at 100 yards because it's supposedly like the best all-purpose sighting in that you can do. Because then you can just hold it a little high at other ranges, and it will fire perfect. But so I had on my phone some notes, and basically the notes mentioned that at 100 yards, it's a 100-yard sight picture is 3 inches low at 7 yards. So since on the range, the particular side range that I was at that day, it only has maybe 20 yards of room. So I set a target at 7 yards and sighted it in to be 3 inches low. That's what you do to kind of backwardsly sight in for 100 yards if you don't have access to an actual 100 yards. So, well, I mean, you can, I think it's a certain amount of inches low at like 50 yards to 25 yards, but I didn't have those. I think the only one that I had marked was 3 inches low at 7 yards. So I actually sighted in at 7 yards, and man, the bullets were, I realize this is really stupid being that it's 7 yards away, but the bullets were like pretty much going through the same hole, just about, it was pretty ridiculous. So accuracy seems really good, and everything I've learned about these says that they're also quite accurate, besides being quite reliable, within reason for a 9mm carbine. But yeah, everything said, this is a good gun. I like it, and I recommend it.